Horror of the Zombies is an English-language edit of the 1974 Spanish horror film El Buque Maldito, also known as The Ghost Galleon, Ship of Zombies, or The Blind Dead 3. The Blind Dead series of films were created by Amando de Ossorio, featuring an army of zombie Knights Templar, hooded flesh-eating mummies with hollowed eye sockets. The Blind Dead series was part of a wave of Spanish horror films in the 1970s. While other Spanish directors in that wave were creating vampire and werewolf films to reach global audiences, The Blind Dead were horror monsters with a distinctly Spanish identity. There are either 4 or 5 official Blind Dead films, and I've read that this one is considered the weakest of the series. If that's the case, that's actually pretty impressive. Sure, the flaws are obvious, like the budget. Most of the action happens on a boat, which is sometimes a set, sometimes a toy in a tub. There's only 3 on-screen deaths. Only one of them fit for the gorehounds, after minute 57. It's not actually impressive, but that and a rape scene merit an R rating. And the effects, they're on par with the monsters on Doctor Who, like 1980s Doctor Who. What about the story? This particular tale begins in a modeling studio, where Nomi is trying to find out where her roommate with benefits, Kathy, disappeared to. We learn that Kathy was hired for a publicity stunt, stranding her out in the middle of the ocean. But no one counted on Kathy's boat running into an abandoned Spanish galleon. Eventually, everybody ends up on board. They discover the terrible secret and desperately try to escape. Fans who saw the previous movies, with the knights riding on horseback and swinging swords, must have been disappointed to see them merely shuffling along a boat. The human characters aren't very well developed either. That might be the dubbing.
Where's Kathy?
She's in a boat.
In a boat?
It's very logical. Very logical.
What's the cause of it?
I'm certain that we're immersed in another dimension completely uncommon to us all.
Or just mediocre excuses to get everybody on a spooky boat in the middle of the ocean. And yet, in between all the awkward place setting and half measures are some stunningly impressive images of dread and terror. As slow as these things shamble, they're still a disturbing sight of converging relentless doom. Like I said, these monsters are on par with the creatures on Doctor Who. Even if they look cheap, they're strongly designed to tap into some kind of communal nightmare. The Blind Dead series brought Ossorio international notice. They did not, however, appear to get him bigger budgets. He would direct a few more films, including one more Blind Dead film, but would leave the director's chair for good in 1984. He sold paintings after he retired, depicting scenes from his unproduced screenplays and fantasies, reflecting the vivid imagination he attempted to put on screen. He died in 2001. Maria Persci was born in Austria and made her way to Hollywood in the 1960s, appearing in films with Rock Hudson, Montgomery Clift, and Cliff Robertson. She found more screen time in Europe, however. By 1985, she was back in her native Austria, appearing regularly on television and stage until her death in 2001. Jack Taylor was an American actor who moved to Europe in the 60s. For decades, he has been the go-to guy when Spanish productions need an American-looking lead or villain. He's appeared on American movie screens in Conan the Barbarian and The Ninth Gate. Barbara Rey, born Maria Garcia, represented Spain in the 1971 Miss World beauty pageant. A year after Horror of the Zombies, her role in the TV show Palmares made her a national sensation. She got married to a lion tamer in the 1980s, had 2 kids in a circus with him, but they divorced. These days, she shows up on celebrity reality shows. If you haven't seen any of the Blind Dead films before, consider this film a sample of what the series has to offer. Pay no attention to the story or the dialogue unless you like to laugh at that sort of thing. Just power through the first hour, get on board the boat, and check out these creepers to assess how you'll feel about the rest of the series. Or skip to the other Blind Dead films, or any of the spin-offs or remakes that have come out since. Nothing will keep these revenants down for long.